when people were like, who's in the cast, I was like, oh, Jonathan. And everyone's like, oh, that guy from Clueless. Sorry, can I just hold you?
She has no idea. She saw Clueless once in her life.
I saw Clueless twice because I watched it, and then he was like, you have to watch Clueless again.
This
so
is
then I watched
the best.
it again.
I love this shameless plug.
I like exposing it.
So while we're talking about Clueless, let's go Clueless Scrubs. What's it like going into drama? Like, I've never seen you do drama before, and I've been so excited to see it.
I love it. 1, 2, it's really scary, but I think that's what makes me love it so much. You know, if a joke falls flat, you can kind of edit it to make it good. If a dramatic scene doesn't work, then the dramatic scene just doesn't work. You know what I mean? And so I really enjoy the challenge. It's definitely different for me. But I'm an actor, so you know it's great to be challenged. This is why we get into this game, to do things that make us uncomfortable. So, you know, it's very, very, very scary, but I love it.
It's working.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, having done that, for actors that might want to follow those steps, going from comedy to drama, but might be afraid to make that change, what advice would you give them?
Just do it. You know, a long time ago, I did a pilot with Bryan Cranston, right, and who's gone on to win Emmys for Breaking Bad, etc. And when I met him, we were doing a comedy. It was a comedy pilot written by some of the people from Seinfeld, and Jerry Seinfeld and you guys okay? Jerry Seinfeld was one of the writers with him, along with Larry David. And I just remember Bryan Cranston being so funny. And he went on to do a really funny show, Malcolm in the Middle, after that. And he went on to do Breaking Bad. And I remember being like, dude, how did you switch? He's like, you just do it. Like, you're an actor, just go do it. If you're afraid, that's even more reasonable. You know, when you're being surprised what you can find. When you're willing to, you know, sacrifice your comfortability, your comfort, I should say.
So based on like the first 2 episodes of the show, throughout the season, will we get to see more of the family dynamic between your characters and Joe, and kind of actually what happened with your marriage, and kind of how they're doing this shared custody situation?
I definitely think so. Today we did a scene that was kind of centered around that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
can't give away a lot, but yeah.
Yeah, yes. But you'll definitely see more of the family. I think everyone.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's...
I'm definitely going to spoil things. Like,
you almost did. Yeah, you know, at the center of the show, it is about family. Whether it's blood or whether it's this, you know, this little girl who's been adopted by this family. So, yeah, it's definitely, that element will always be involved in the show. If not, it's just a sidebar show.
Yeah, we always say.
And we're on ABC.
Yeah. We always say, like, the story is basically this family, like normal people, and crazy things are happening to normal people.
Yeah.
Like, to a family.
Yeah.
Normal family.
Right.
We're also going to see into how much Piper coming into it is pushing this family dynamic.
Exactly.
You're gonna definitely see a lot of that also.
For sure.
Yes. Piper joining this family, it starts off a little rocky, and you know, my character definitely. This is not a spoiler.
Okay.
My character definitely feels like she's dangerous, especially after what happened in the basement.
Yeah, you're really uneasy about Piper.
And it's not because of who she is, per se, it's but the people that are chasing after her. And that's scary because I don't think he's ever, you know, he's been married to a police officer for a long time and they got divorced. And I don't think they ever were being chased by anyone. That's definitely nerve-wracking to Alex.
I feel like my character sort of embraces Piper because she wants a little sister, so she thinks, oh, like this cute little girl. that, you know, Mia doesn't know yet. But I think she just wants a little sister, and now she knows that she can't have them because, you know, her parents aren't together anymore. So she kind of takes this opportunity to have a new family member, and she loves her. And she kind of treats her like it.
That's how my eldest reacted instantly at finding out she was having a little sister.
Yeah,
she was like, little sister. So I just loved that.
Because I'm an only child too, so like Alexa in real life too, we're kind of close. We have the same hair today. That was not planned.
Sure it wasn't.
It was not planned.
They were like, yo, you doing the Princess Leia? I'm doing the Princess Leia.
I was also kind of getting like Minnie Mouse vibes a little bit because it kind of looks like ears. I don't know if you see that, but
I see Princess Leia.
Well, yeah, me too. But
it was like, let's do. You going to Comic-Con? Might as well do the Princess Leia.
That would happen.
Is it energizing working with younger actors?
Yeah,
It brings a different energy.
You know
right?
what's crazy is that they say action and they become adults while shooting the scene, and then they say cut, and these girls are freaking goofing off camera and everything like that. It's really, you know, they're professionals, you know, it's and very good. So it's really it's refreshing to be around that. Because I remember when I was their age and I was on set, and you know, I might not have been as well behaved as these two, you know.
Yeah.
And so, not that you guys need to be kids, but they're very professional and they're very on point. Like today we had a scene and we walked into the scene and neither one of us knew our lines. And we rehearsed it and we went over it like a couple of times and then we got it. But yeah.
I know we kind of like learned the words pretty quickly.
It was like really fast, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to walk in and being like, all right, I got to look at this. I don't know my lines. And
it was
Ashley being like, me too. And then getting it right.
Yeah. We were in the car, so we'd like hide the lines in the glove compartment, and then in between each take, we'd be like, all right, here we go.
Run it. Yeah.
We're still getting to know your characters because we've only seen 2 episodes. What can you tell us about them that we don't already know?
What
you can share.
That we can share. Well, my character is a civil engineer. And
Just one more question.
he is a very good one at that. He's also a trust fund baby. So all this money that you see these people spending is my money, or my character's money that he lost in the divorce.
My character, some stuff happens to her.
Yeah.
Some unexpected things because I'm gonna spoil. I know I'm gonna spoil. But you have to watch it to find out. On Tuesdays at 10 p.m.
That's how you play. I taught you well.
How do you think the relationship between the family will change once Piper's like more of her powers come into play and you learn more about her?
That's definitely going to be an issue that comes up during the show.
That's for sure.
So we just screened episode 3. Were you guys able to watch it or anything like that? Okay, so we just screened episode 3, and you find out what Piper is, or who Piper is, I should say. And Clancy made a great point where he was like, I just want everybody in the audience to think about who knows what's going on and who doesn't, because that's going to come into play later. So, yeah.
How far into filming are you?
We're on episode 7 right now.
Yeah, we just started episode 7.
Yeah, so we're almost done with episode 7, actually. When you think about it, we're done.
This episode was quick.
No, we got all next week to shoot. My bad.
I think Thursday.
Thursday's for us. Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
I was really
Now back to the business at hand. What?
There are 2 people who have the coolest hair I've ever seen in my life, and now that you guys don't have cool hair, it's just the fact that these 2 hairstyles.
I thought you were going to say you and Ashley because you had the same hair. And I was going to be like, pipe down, kid. Don't play so hard. You do have beautiful hair.
It's like seriously coloredness. It's like really cool. I mean, your hair is also one of my favorite colors in it, so.
Which one? Turquoise. Girl loves turquoise.
It was green, but the purple ran into it, so it ended up.
Oh, I think it's beautiful. Yeah, it's a good accident.
Really good.
All right.
So let's get started with this sort of like dynamic between the 2. Like, you know, there was sort of a maternal need to protect Piper. way rather than just the police need to protect someone. Why? Do we find out why this is?
No, I think the fact that Jo is a mother anyway, that I think that there's something in her that's just like, wow, my kid needed someone, and my kid was all alone. I would want someone to take care of my kid, take my kid in. So I think that's part of it. We've sort of toying a little bit and talking a little bit about Jo's past. The fact that she grew up without her mom, I think, is part of it as well. And I don't even think that Jo has a clear understanding of how much that plays into her relationship with Piper. But it's obviously a theme that they've started delving into a little bit.
I feel like she didn't want Piper to have the same experience she did when she was a little girl, not having that loving character.
Yeah, but I just don't even know that it's on a conscious level. I just don't think Jo. I don't think Jo thinks about her mom very often. But obviously, that is a.
Well, she explains that.
Right.
But she grasped the idea of not having a mom a long time ago.
Right.
If you guys have watched this episode, she'd known that.
Did you guys watch 3?
That's it.
Oh!
Oh, great. Here we go.
Now this is a stressful circle. All right. Anybody else?
Yeah, so Fargo as well.
Yes.
Here we have, they're clearly different characters, but did anything from that performance and any research you've done into impact how you decided to approach?
This is so funny. You're going to be the first person to get this answer. I realized this as I was watching 3 last night. You haven't seen 3 yet. It's fine. This is not something that is a spoiler. Jo does this thing when she does it in the pilot as well when she's talking to the fake parents. And she does this thing where she's kind of like fake folksy and she's a little bit like hometowny. And I was watching 3 last night and I was like, oh my god, it's like Jo watched Fargo and was like, interesting. And then does a Jo version of Molly to try to like hook people in. Because Molly is genuinely, I think, that earnest all the time. But Jo has this like folksy thing that she puts on when she's trying to like, rope in the city folk. Which I think is really a lot of fun. But yeah, they're very different women. I mean, the most important.
They're technically the same.
They look very similar.
Almost identical.
I think the most obvious difference being that like Molly spends the entire arc of the first season of Fargo she has something to prove. She's trying to get to, and Jo doesn't have to prove anything.
She's the chief.
Period.
Who are you going to prove it to? The chief of the USA Police?
She's where the buck stops.
The end. And the start.
Don't forget it.
Was that character, was that there to start with? Because Jo kind of feels like your aunt, who is also sheriff, rather than a lot of different ways that you've seen kind of a small town sheriff played. It's more familiar, more relatable, less defined by her job, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of that's on the page. I think both Michelle and Tara are writers and showrunners. Our creators are working moms, and I think that they really wanted to bring that in. And one of the first things that I said when I met with them is that I really like the fact that she's not overly maternal, that she's not like spit cleaning faces and stuff. She's a mom, but she's also like pretty practical. She doesn't take any like nonsense.
She's like, you need water? Yeah. Go get
some water. She's like my mom when I was growing up. And I think that carries into her job as well. But you're right; it's not a character that we see a lot in professions like that. I think on television.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think it's a great personality type to do that job. You know what I mean? Like she's smart, she's capable, she's very practical. She's kind of pragmatic. I just think that those are great qualities.
Yeah. In the smaller moments with like the donuts or the MRI not knowing how to be supportive. It feels like those are moments that usually go to supporting characters, not to a lead.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is though.
I don't know.
Wait, how do you know about
the donuts part.
You missed the donuts?
In 3.
We've watched 3?
Yeah.
Some of them have watched 3.
Oh, okay, well I didn't.
You know about the donuts?
Yeah.
I was
Spoilers! Not for you.
I got the notes that people said they didn't.
Oh no, some people have seen it. Some people haven't.
Okay, well raise your hand if you've seen it before. Okay, great. Well,
So we're gonna have a totally.
we're on that's already sales. I think that the donuts were a very big part. I mean, Ashley loved the donuts. They were such a big part. She said those were the best ones I've ever tasted tasted. They're probably the main part of the whole episode.
Stay tuned for donuts, guys.
Yes.
There are legitimately 2 donut scenes in the entire episode, which is a lot of donut scenes. Yeah, because we shot a second scene with donuts in it. No, use it. We can have this conversation away from him.
So what's it been like for you first, your first jobs, as a young actress? Have they all been quite helpful, supportive?
Well, it's not my first job, actually.
One
of my first biggest ones.
This is your biggest.
That's my biggest one. Yeah. Definitely my first, though. Definitely not one of my first. But I think that they've definitely that the whole cast has been. I mean, I'm so blessed to have this cast of really, 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 really talented people, and they've all been helping me because I've definitely been learning more and growing with the script, and I've been learning more about not acting really, but just like tips, like just helpful tips.
Yeah. Well, and there's acting is one thing, and being on a set is another thing.
Yeah, and they definitely help you with being on the set.
This is a big role. Like, you're spending a lot of time on a set. You're not just flying into a scene or two. You're spending a full day on a set, and that's
8 hours.
That's a lot. A full day for a kid is 8 hours. It's adorable.
Normal hours for people are 8 hours.
Yeah, not actors. You're going to turn 18 and things are going to change, sister. 12 hour, 14-hour days.
Does it change the dynamics for you to work with younger kids on the show rather than adults?
Yeah. She has a swear jar for us to keep us all in line.
None of you guys are paying, so it's like...
I will say, she has a swear jar on set, but we have started a coup just recently and said, you know what, we're not paying you anymore.
Apparently, it was cuter when I was 9.
That's what Donald said. It was cute when she was 9.
But I was never 9 when I started it.
It was never cute. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, he shouldn't have been saying.
It is different. But it's lovely. We really like each other. We're like a pretty happy cast at the end of the day. She and Ashley adore each other, which is awesome. That was a comment I saw a lot on Twitter this week, is that it's like people were really pleased that that Piper and Mia were sisterly towards each other, and that there wasn't,
they are.
But there wasn't like a jealousy storyline. I thought that was nice.
I mean,
We have to go.
Thank you.
She wanted a little sister. Yeah, she wanted one, and she was like, "Well, I get one."
It's
So
nice to see a nice dynamic.
I'm telling you, next time you've got to get that table because they're right by the pastries. That's where it's at, seriously. Oh, wait. Okay, we're all dialed in, yes. Everyone's recording. Excellent, let's go. Yes. Okay, so the final scene of season 1. Here it is. Major spoilers. Everyone's turned on? No, I'm Can you imagine?
Could you imagine if you'd already got to that part in the script?
I know, seriously.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be difficult to hold on to. I think
Big trouble.
Really, like, let everybody know all the things.
It is a challenge, though, being in a mystery show. You do have to check yourself and go, okay, what do I know? What am I supposed to know? What am I supposed to say? That's that is
terrifying because I ramble quite a bit, so I feel like it's just going to come out, and then I'll realize 5 minutes later, oh yeah, I definitely just
spoiled that.
Yeah, the entire season. That's okay. So, like, I'm going to keep them on here and just chill. They'll do most of the talking.
Stop talking. Stop it. You're doing it already. Rambling.
So I do feel like your 2 characters we haven't really got to know as much as the family dynamic. So what can you tease about it?
Have you seen episode 3 yet?
Not yet.
Okay, all right. So there's definitely a bit more, certainly for Benny, in episode 3, and I think you'll see where that's growing, and I think there's at the moment, certainly in those first 2 episodes, there's this sort of like growing level of suspicion about who or what he might be up to, and I think that's mainly because he's a journalist, and I think and I think and a foreigner, but I think it's one of those things that there is a sort of an inherent mistrust of we're in a bit of funny time with the media, and like people are like, oh, if he's a journalist, he must be after something. And I think the bottom line is that he definitely knows something. He knows perhaps a little bit too much, but I think you'll begin to get a much clearer idea, on top of an enormous reveal as well in episode 3, as to what his allegiances are, and what his relationship with Joe is, and where the show is going. We deliver answers very, very quickly in the show, and I know a lot of shows say that, but once you see episode 3, I think you'll agree. It's we're not messing around. We want to respect viewers, and we don't want to just draw this mystery out endlessly. We want to give a tight, fast-paced delivery of information.
Absolutely, and it doesn't stop. Like, I think 3 really changes the landscape quite a bit in our show, and then every episode after that, it grows and grows and gets bigger, and it's kind of wild, honestly, the pace that we're going at. I think every time we get a new script, we're like, oh, we're doing that already. That was like season 2 in my head, but all right, cool. And it's just really fun to kind of just keep expanding. I think we're just really confident. Our creators, Michelle and Tara, know exactly what they want to do. They're doing it really confidently at an incredible pace. So we're just genuinely excited every time we get a new script, because it's just always incredible, and you can't really believe what we're doing so quickly. And as far as my character, Chris, I think you get to spend a little bit more time with him in 4, actually, after everything changes in 3, and he has some really interesting, fun dynamics in there. And also the next few episodes after that, he gets more pulled into the main investigation and the main mystery, and how he reacts to finding out a lot of things that are going on over the course of the season is really interesting, I think. So people are going to be surprised about how he reacts.
You did a good job. You didn't spoil it.
Thank you. Yeah.
I was right on the cusp.
That was all in one breath too.
No,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think that's how the mystery genre, especially on network TV, they learned that? Like, you have to start, you can't string a person along, giving them a little bit, but is it the challenge then of, I guess, what do you follow it up with?
Sure. I think the intention, certainly from Tara and Michelle, our creators, was that they wanted to, right from the get-go, they have an incredibly defined arc, not just for the season but for the show. And I think there is a recognition and a respect for the fact that we're in a very different age of television. Everyone wants to watch streamed shows. I don't know about you guys, but I watch and binge a lot of shows where I'm like, great, I want to watch from episode 1 through to the final episode. So I think you have to respect the fact that television landscape is changing, and people are busy, and so it's I think the importance of delivering that information quickly was very intentional. And I think it was it's not just a forced kind of like sense of, oh, well, we better pad it with this or with this or with this. There is a very clear sense of where we're going, not just in the macro scale, but with our characters too. And you guys aren't really going to have to, the audiences aren't going to have to wait around very long. And I think there is a frustration. People are like, well, I don't want to invest in a show if it's going to take forever, or I don't want to invest in a show if it's going to get cancelled. Let me tell you, the delivery of the information in this show is so thick and fast and comes so satisfyingly that I promise you, I know that an audience is going to be satiated and going to feel like, oh great, I remember a time when I was excited to wait a week, and sort of, it wasn't that long ago that we all had to watch our shows like that. And I really, really believe that from this episode and going forward, the cliffhangers that are set up week to week make it real appointment television.
Is it going to be like a pattern, an episode with a big cliffhanger at the end, or are we going to have huge reveals during the episode too?
I think a mixture of both. I think the nature of television, especially network television, is you have to keep an audience coming back for something. So there always has to be that sense of, oh, where are we going with that? But as Robert touched on, we've got a wonderful family drama at the centre of this mystery, and I think that's what marks it out from a lot of kind of mystery shows. A lot of unrelatable things happening, and they're set in far off, distant planets and all the rest of it. This is a show that's happening in a very, very real town with a very real family at the centre of it, and I love that because it grounds it in such a relatable place. So I think people. I've never been part of a show where I feel like there's so many different appealing genres. You've got family drama, you've got incredibly comedically adept cast. I mean, like, oh, it's wonderful.
He's talking about himself.
Is it that obvious? But to have so many different kind of genres at play within the show is very, very exciting, because hopefully that opens up the oeuvre a bit to make it a little bit more of an appealing show to a lot of different people.
So more of the science fiction show. Were you guys surprised based on sort of the show?
Yeah.
Is there anything very surprising? You may not be able to
That's the tricky part. Well, so the thing about it is I before the season I went to visit the writers' room and was just having a conversation with Michelle and Tara, and they started just talking about the overall scope of the show. And I was just like, what word? And they were like, we didn't tell you that already? And I was like, yeah, you did. Go on. What's up? And so they just kind of let me know a lot of what was going on. So I know where things are heading. So as I get each script, what's more so surprising to me is a lot of the character development and how it all kind of moves into those places, those beats that I do know are coming. And I just am so excited about how brilliantly, in my opinion, it's being done. It's really, really just, they're killing the scripts, in my opinion. But yeah, I kind of know a lot of the beats, and I don't know if I was supposed to, but they just kind of like let me know, and I was like, yeah, totally. I know that you told me that already. Go ahead. Keep your thing going.
They actually sat down with all of us at the start and said, would you prefer to know? We've got a big kind of overarching, or are you one of those actors who maybe doesn't want to know, and then, you know, you can play the kind of like ongoing discovery of it.
Right. You know, I didn't get that question. That's what I think they thought they asked me that, but they didn't. They were like, no, you told me already, but just like, what do you think? I forget, what is it again? And then they just like let me know all the things.
I will say this, we've built the opening mythology of the show on Who is Piper. Episode 3, you will have a huge answer to that question.
Wow.
So that is how early we are delivering
Already
information. Episode 3. And most people would be like, oh, that's surely going to be the end of season, you know. So that gives you an idea not only of the speed with which we're delivering information, but how much more story there is to come after that too. So I think for those people who are like, oh, it's a mystery kid show, it is so much more than that. You know, there really is just so much. This is just the tip of the iceberg. That's all I'm going to say before I start spoiling. Yeah? Okay, great. Thank you guys. Thank you.
This is Sabrina.
Clancy.
He plays a doctor.
He plays Gramps.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how you do it.
We're still getting to know your characters. What can you tell us about them that we don't already know?
For Dr. Abby, she is fiercely loyal. And we've been, Joe and I, Allison's character, we've been friends since childhood. And I think I've been friends with Donald Faison's character too. I think we've probably just known each other in this credit. He's probably known us since we were kids.
Mr. Sawyer.
Hey, Mr. Sawyer.
Hello, Abby.
He used to be Mr. Sawyer to me. But yeah, I think that's the backstory that we haven't really explored yet.
Yeah. What can about Ed that you don't see yet? He's got a temper. You'll see his temper. You'll see he pops off a couple of times. That's about it.
Bad taste in shirts.
Bad taste.
Apparently.
That is
No, the character. The character.
Nice.
Wow.
He gave us all Rams shirts with our names on. So I wear mine proudly all the time, but my husband's a Saints fan, and he's very mad at me.
I love that he's a Saints fan. I love that.
He's like, if I get your Saints shirt with your names on it, will you burn the Rams shirt? No, it's never gonna happen.
So we've had the chance to start with, Grandpa Doctor relationship with Piper, coming in. How much of this is going to start growing in the next few episodes?
What part?
Just the dynamic with Piper, this whole mystery behind Piper and the growth of like the grandpa dynamics, sort of adopted grandpa dynamics.
Have you seen episode 3? Have you seen it? Oh, okay, so episode 3 pops off, and the reveals in the show come really fast. It's something that the creators, Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas, they absolutely didn't want the audience to get bored and ahead of the story, so they are revealing quickly. I mean, we're all reading the scripts and we're like, oh, okay, we're doing that now. So I think, to your point, to your question, yes, all of it's going to start developing and deepening very quickly.
Yeah, I think we all kind of get swept up in it. It's like you started out with this really good hook of, this mysterious little girl and who is she, and a lot of that gets answered. A lot of what you think you want to know gets told to you, but by the time you get that answer, there's so much more story and questions that you have. And how is it all going to relate? I mean, it's kind of a masterful unfolding of a narrative with this.
And then it's all kind of,
it's like a novel.
Yeah, nestled inside these very real lives of people that are like you and me. There's no supernatural.
Except we're on TV.
Except for that part, it's just like you and me. And
we don't swear.
Except for that. And it does lend a great deal of credibility because and empathy. People are allowed to empathize and be compassionate towards the characters because I think people see themselves in that. I do in that situation. And it feels similar, even though it's very the decisions are similar, even though it's a sci-fi.
It usually seems like when a big twist or a revelation happens, the story either ends soon after or changes. Do you have to kind of approach the arc of your character differently, knowing that the twist is going to happen, but then the character is going to keep reacting and moving forward with it?
I mean, I don't find it to be a difficulty because our creators and our writers are really skilled and they're incredible writers. So what is most important to me is it real? Is it true? Are we telling a story? And what do I want? Do I want something that makes sense in this world? And up until now, we haven't been disappointed. I have.
Yeah, they're very mindful of their characters. Like characters don't know more than they should know, and then that becomes part of the story. I mean, you saw 3, right? So who knows? In the ensemble here, who knows what you know? Not that many people, right? So those people have to learn it, but also. You think you know the next step of the story because Terry O'Quinn has shown up and you think you know what's going on, but you don't. I'll tell you right now, that's the spoiler. You don't know. You think you do because they're sending you down that path, but that ain't it. It's real. I mean, it's good, man. It's like it's good. It's good to read. It's good to watch.
I get a lot of questions from readers about how to approach a part.
Don't be mad you don't know. It's intended for you not to know. It's intended for you. I'm sorry. It's intended for you not to know. But you're gonna love it when you go, "Whoa, man!
Clancy was right."
Sorry. Go ahead.
How did you approach this part in the sci-fi mystery, and did it differ, or do you approach different parts in different genres?
I'll go first. I'm primarily a theater actor, so the blessing in theater is that you have the full arc of the play, and you know the beginning, the middle, and the end, and you can develop your character because you know where they go. TV, in my experience, I find that the end of a season, I'm like, I wish I'd known that episode 3. I would have totally played that differently, So it's tough, but I think if you always play the truth of the scene and the truth of your need and your objectives, and your relationships are real, it covers it. And I think it for me, that's what I've had to kind of rely on so that I don't get bogged down by like, what is going to happen in 3 episodes? Can I say that like that? Because what if that doesn't happen later? Because backstories change, things shift, they decide somebody's going to go a different path based on, whatever they're talking about in the writer's room. So I don't know if that answers your question.
What was the question?
Different genres of television.
Oh, different genres. Yeah, of course you do. but when you start out on a TV show or pilot, you meet these people for the first time, and all of a sudden you have to like resume an intimacy. That's what actors do pretty much. In theater, you get the rehearsal time to really cram that and make that happen. It's always a crapshoot with television. Film, sometimes you can make it happen. Crapshoot is with television. You just got to hope that you have an ensemble that is just going to get along, and there's not going to be any ego problems. There's not going to be any. Everybody's going to be patient with kids. Everybody's going to be, respectful of the senior citizen. And, nobody's going to be creepy to the beautiful women. I mean, it's like a whole lot of dynamic and politic that you have to just hope works out right. And this one really did right from the get-go, because of Allison, because of who everybody is, but also because of Allison and because of Michelle and Tara and the way they built it. I think somehow they just figured out, how not to cast an asshole. But you never know.
They actually have a no asshole policy. So no one's allowed.
Right, and I mean, even in our guest stars, there's like everybody's solid. Everybody's so work focused and friendly and happy to be there,
and just grateful to be working.
I know that doesn't sound like really juicy, does it?
I know, it's not much of a sound bite. We fight all the time.
Those darn kids!
What's it like going into a pilot, knowing that it might not even go anywhere? How do you prepare just for a pilot on its own, not knowing?
We read the script. We sit around and get to know each other, and we, cross our fingers and try to, be honest with each other. But we had a great director. We had Paul McGuigan, who was directing, and Michelle and Tara were on the set to answer everything. So, the tone was set by Paul and Michelle and Tara and Allison pretty much, and so, the rest of it's just kind of sat back and we watched. And Donald, his big personality and Alexa,
on offset.
That's a lot of fun.
What part of the series, when you first read the scripts and was approached for it, really drew you in? Like the storyline, your characters, that you want to do this?
I thought the writing was fantastic. I loved that it was this extraordinary world happening to very ordinary people, and that it was just so human and character. That's what drives me to fall in love with the script, and that was number one. So character. I tell Michelle, they were like, "Did you read it? Let me know." And I'm like, and I know them. We've worked with them before, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll be hard pressed." And I was 5 pages in, I was like, "Girls, yes, I'll finish reading."
See,
big personality.
Have you interviewed them yet?
Yes, it was fun.
It's fun, right?
I heard there was a cuss jar that never gets used.
Did he tell everybody?
No.
I knew it.
Good Lord.
I was like, that's the only thing that would make me
Creation never happens.
Most of the kids have a huge energy. How does it change the dynamic for you on the set?
What? With a kid?
Yeah.
It's okay. You're not going to report it. It's off the record.
It doesn't take more than a couple of slaps. They're paying attention. No, they're pretty good.
There's only one thing that would make
They're great kids, man, and they're really talented. And they're sweet girls.
This is a daily.
The decibel level does ping in the red. And then when that happens, I'm like, you know what?